Hello everyone, and in this week we are going to start with a new chapter, which is chapter 10, and this is all about circuit switching and packet switching. So in this chapter we are going to talk about what is circuit switching and what are the key elements of the circuit switch networks, and then we are going to talk about packet switching and the key elements of the packet switching network. So let's start with circuit switching and packet switching. Although we have learned about circuit switching and packet switching in chapter number 1. So this week we are going to talk about only circuit switching, and the next lecture we will talk about packet switching. So in this lecture I am only going to talk about circuit switching. Alright, so let's talk about the circuit switching. Now, for transmission of data beyond the local area network, for example, if we want to send data to some other network, a communication is achieved by transmitting the data from source to the destination through a network of intermediate switching nodes. That means we have some intermediate network, so the data goes from one network to the another network, from second network to the third network, and so on, unless and until it reaches the destination. This switch network design is typically used to implement the local area network also, and the switching nodes are not concerned with the content of data. Rather, their purpose is to provide a switching facility that will move data from one node to the another until they reach their destination. So, switching is basically concerned with how the data will move from one hop to the another hop so that the data reaches its destination. So switching nodes provide a switching facility that moves the data between the nodes and until they reach the receiver, and the switching nodes are not concerned with the content of data. So these are two important points. Here is an example of the circuit switch network. So here is an example of the circuit switch network. Now the devices that are attached to the network may be referred to as stations. So this B, A, C, D, then these routers, these are all servers, personal computers, and here I have a personal computer. These are all called as the stations. Now for example, if computer A wants to send some data to computer F, it can send data from 4, 7 or 6, or from 4, 5 and 6. Similarly, if B wants to send data to D, it has a path. First of all, the data will be sent to router number 1, not to router number 4. The data is first of all sent to the immediate router or the immediate network. So it can send data like from 1 to 2, 2 to 3 and D. It can also follow the path from 1 to 4, 4 to 5 and 5 to 3 and then to D. So these are some of the examples a system can follow the path while sending the data. Now there are certain important terms: stations and nodes. Devices which are attached to the network, for example computers, terminals or telephones, they are called as stations. For example, I have a personal computer here, I have a mainframe here, I have a server here. These are all called as the stations. Nodes are the switching devices that provide the communication link. For example, it can be the transmission link, it can be a dedicated point-to-point link. And node links, they are usually multiplexed using the frequency division multiplexing or the time division multiplexing. So nodes are connected by the transmission links. Nodes are the switching devices. So if I go back to the previous slides, these are the stations: personal computer, mainframe, servers, personal computer. Now these are the switching node or the switching devices. Switching devices are called as nodes. Now these nodes, they are connected to one another with the help of the transmission links, for example wires, and node station links which are dedicated point to point, and these links are usually multiplexed by using a frequency division multiplexing and or the time division multiplexing. Each station in this will attach to a node, and the collection of node is referred to as the communication network. So in case of a switched communication network, data entering the network from a station is routed to the destination by being switched from node to node. So that means data travels from node to node. For example, As I said, if A wants to send data to the computer F or to computer E, let's suppose, so data will first of all move to node 4, then from node 4 it may choose to move to node 7, then from node 7 to node 6, and then to the computer E. Or it may choose from node 4, it can be moved from to node 5, then from node 5 to node 6 and to node E. So in this case, in case of switched communication network, once the data enters the network, it is routed to the destination from node to node. So this is a characteristic of the switched networks. Now coming to the communication networks, what are its characteristics? So let's sum it up. Communication network. What is a communication network? Communication network is a collection of nodes. Now, in addition to switching functions, some nodes also deliver data to the attached station. Nodes also have switching functions, but they also deliver the data to the nearby stations. Now, the network is not fully connected, so there is not a direct link between every possible pair of nodes. There may not be a direct link between every possible pair of nodes. For example, if I go back to the diagram that we have, for example, there is no direct connection between the node 5 and computer E. There is no direct connection between the node 5 and mainframe C. There is no direct connection between node 1 and mainframe C or personal computer A. So they may, in case of if there is no direct link, then a network is not fully connected if there is not a direct link between every possible pair of nodes. So in this case, our network is not fully connected. Fully connected means each node is connected to every other node. So for example, if I have 5 computers, let's assume I have 4 computers. First is here, second is here, third is here, fourth is here. What is a fully connected network? Let me just explain you. This is system 1, this is system 2, this is system 3, this is system 4. System 1 is connected to system 2, system 1 is connected to system 3, system 1 is connected to system 4. Now coming to computer 2, system 2 is connected to 1, already done. System 2 is connected to 3, system 2 is connected to 4. Coming to computer 3, computer 3 is connected to 1, computer 3 is connected to 2, computer 3 is connected to 4, and now 4 is connected to 2, 4 is connected to 1, 4 is connected to 3. So in case of a fully connected network, each node is connected to one another. This example is not a fully connected network. So network may not be fully connected, so there is not a direct link between every possible pair of nodes. There can be redundant connections which increase the network reliability, that means duplicate connections. 2 different technologies are used in the wide area switched networks, circuit switching and packet switching. Now these 2 technologies, they differ in the way the nodes switch the information from one link to the another on the way from source to the destination. So we are going to talk about these 2 switching technologies, circuit switching and packet switching. So let's start with circuit switching and packet switching, discussing in detail. Now, circuit switching. Circuit switching has a communication via circuit switching implies that there is a dedicated communication path. That means there is some dedicated path between the 2 stations, and the 2 stations are sender and the receiver. That means there is some dedicated path between sender and the receiver, and the path consists of a connected sequence of links between the network nodes. That means there exists a fully connected network, or we can say a sequence of nodes that join sender and the receiver with the help of some dedicated communication path. And on each physical link, a logical channel is dedicated to the connection and communication with the help of circuit switching. Now it involves 3 phases which are circuit establishment, data transfer and circuit disconnection. So these are the 3 phases which will always be there in circuit switching. First one is the establishment of the circuit, second one is the data transfer, and third is the circuit disconnection. Now we are going to talk about these three phases in the circuit switching in detail, and after that I will explain you with an example. Alright, so let's start with the circuit establishment. Circuit establishment means before any signal can be transmitted between the sender and the receiver, some connection or the circuit must be established. For example, if a station wants to send a request to node 4 requesting a connection to station E, so the link from it, okay, let me go back over here. Suppose, for example, this station A wants to send data to computer E, so it will request the next its direct linked node, which is 4, to establish a connection between computer A and computer E. So the link from A to 4 is a dedicated line, so that part of connection already exists. Now it is the responsibility of node 4 to find the next leg in the route which can establish a connection to E. Based on the routing information and the availability of the nodes, node 4 will select either link 5 or link 7. Now it will select which is the shortest path or which is the fastest path. So it will select either node 4, node 5 or node 7. Let's assume that it selects node 7. Now the node 7 has a direct path between, or we assume that it selects a dedicated path from, it selects node 5, because number of stations may attach to 4, so it must be able to establish a direct connection. Now node 5 allocates a channel to node 6 internally, and it ties the channel from node 4. So node 6 completes the connection to E, and in completing a connection, a test is made to determine if E is busy or it is prepared to accept the connection. So all this routing information will be sent to computer A. This phase is called as the circuit establishment. Next is the data transfer. Now, after the circuit has been established, after the connection has been established between the sender and the receiver, next phase is the data transfer. Now, data can now be transmitted from computer A to computer E, which the example which we have taken. The transmission can be analog or digital depending upon the nature of the network, and the carriers evolved to fully integrated digital networks. The use of digital transmission for both voice and data is becoming very, very prominent these days. Generally, the connection will be full duplex connection in this case. After data transfer phase is over, the next phase is circuit disconnection. After some period of data transfer, the connection is terminated. That means now it's time to terminate the connection and release all the resources which were occupied by the two stations. So it is usually it can be done either by one of the station, sender can do it or receiver can do it. Signals must be propagated and all the resources should be deallocated. So these are the three phases in the circuit switch network. Let's go ahead. Circuit establishment: before any signals can be transmitted, end-to-end circuit has to be established. Then data has to be transferred through the network. The transmission can be analog or digital, and after some period of data transfer, connection has to be disconnected. Now let me just give you an example. For example, our traditional telephone systems, if you want to call your friend, what happens? What are the steps do you take? For example, you lift the receiver and then you dial your friend's number, right? A circuit switching technique is used in the telephone systems, the old telephone systems I'm talking about, the landline systems. Alright, so how it happens? For example, let's assume that you want to call your friend. What you do, you first of all dial a number, then the ring goes to the other side. So meaning is you are trying to establish a connection with the receiver. In this case, receiver is your friend and you are the sender. So connection, you are trying to establish a connection. Now when you are trying to establish a connection, it may be like connection is not established or connection is established. Your friend may not pick up the phone or her phone is busy. So if her phone is busy or she does not pick up the phone, connection will not be established. Now when the connection will be established, when your friend picks up the phone. For example, the receiver, who is your friend, when she picks up the phone, now the connection is established between you and your friend. So the first phase of connection establishment is over. Next phase is you start talking to each other. That means you are exchanging the voice data or the audio data with each other. This phase is called as the data transfer. After you finish your conversation, what you do, any one of you disconnect the telephone. When you say goodbye, either you or your friend can disconnect the telephone. That is called as connection termination or connection disconnection. So if you see, the three logical phases have been established in the circuit switch network when you are talking to your friend. So circuit switching uses a dedicated path between the two stations. It can be inefficient also. Why? Because channel capacity is dedicated for a duration of the connection. For example, when you are like talking to your friend for the whole time, for example, you are talking to her for 1 hour or maybe half an hour. So for the whole time, if your other friend tries to call you, your phone line will go busy. She will not be able to connect with you. This is called as dedication of the resources. So in this case, the resources, which is the bandwidth, channel bandwidth or the channel capacity, is completely dedicated to you. But if there is no data, capacity will be wasted. Setup or the connection, it takes time, but once connected, transfer is transparent and it is very fast. So connection may take some time. Alright, moving ahead. So let's talk about examples of the circuit switching network. Circuit switching network was originally developed to handle voice traffic, but now it is also used to handle the data traffic also. And the best known example of the circuit switching is the public telephone network, which we almost use it. This is actually a collection of national networks which are interconnected to each other and they form an international service. Although it was originally designed and implemented to use it for the analog telephone subscribers, but nowadays it also handles the data traffic also with the help of modem, and it has been converted into a digital network, just like your broadband. For example, when you have a broadband, you can have a telephone also and you can use it for the data also. Another known example we will talk about shortly is the PBX, private branch exchange, which is used to interconnect telephone lines within a building or an office. Just like in our college we have the PBX. Circuit switching is also used in the private networks, but let's first of all talk about what are the four main components of this. Now, public telecommunication network, it can be described by using four general architectural components, which are subscribers, subscriber line, exchange and trunks. Now, what are these? Subscriber are the devices that attach to the network. So, it is still the case that most subscriber devices to public telecommunication network, they are the telephones. The telephones in your house, they are the subscribers. A subscriber line, it is a line that connects subscriber and the network. So the link between the subscriber and the network is called as the subscriber line. It is also called as subscriber loop or the local loop. Almost all local loop interconnections use twisted pair cable, and the length of local loop is in the range of few kilometers to few 10 of kilometers. Then is the exchange. Now exchange, it connects switching centers in the network. So the switching centers in a network, the switching centers support subscribers as an end office. Typically, an end office will support thousands of subscribers in a local area. So in a local area, for example, we have a Hewlett, or we have Khalij, or we have Panatir. The exchange will support thousands of subscribers which are in that area, and there are over 19,000. There can be like many end offices in a particular city or in a particular state also. Last one is the trunk. Trunks are the branches between the exchanges. So the branches between the exchanges are called as trunks. Trunks carry multiple voice frequency circuits using frequency division multiplexing or synchronous division multiplexing. So these are the four components of the public telecommunication network. So this is a subscriber loop. Subscriber is connected to the end office with the help of the subscriber loop. End office is connected to the long office, a long distance office, with the help of the connecting trunk, and then it is connected to the another long distance office using intercity trunk, for example between Jubail and Dammam. Then connecting trunk is connected to the end office, and it is also connected to the digital PBX. So this is how the telecommunication network works. It can also be used in the another examples of the circuit switching network are data switch and the private branch exchange, which I was just talking about before in the previous slide. So another well-known application of the circuit switching is the private branch exchange, which we call it as PBX. And the purpose of this is to interconnect the telephones within a building or within an office. Just like in our college we have a PBX exchange. We can we are all of our offices, they are interconnected to each other. Circuit switching is also used in the private networks such as a network set up by corporation or other large organization. Such networks usually consist of PBX systems. Another common example of the application of the circuit switching is the data switch. So the data switch is what we call it as, it is similar to the PBX, but the main purpose of the data switch is to interconnect the digital data processing devices such as terminals and computers. So these are the three examples of the circuit switching network. Alright, so this is how the telephones and the PBX exchanges are connected to each other. The circuit establishment, how is the circuit establishment done? Let's check it. Alright, so let's understand how is the circuit established between different devices or the different telephones. Now, it can be like, for example, if you see, I have three telephones A, B and C. They are connected to the same end office. That means they are in the same area. Maybe for example in Panatir, D office, the telephone D is attached to the another end office, maybe Al Khalij. Alright, so these end office means for example A, B and C, they are connected to the same end office, whereas D is connected to different end office. That means it's in a different area. Alright, now how to connect between the two subscribers? Now to connect the two subscribers attached to the same end office, for example, if we want to connect between two subscribers between A and B or A and C or B and C, they are all attached to the same end office. Circuit setup between them will be in the same fashion as we have described before. But if two subscribers connect to two different end offices, a circuit between them will consist of a chain of a circuit through one or more intermediate offices. So, for example, if we want to connect between two telephones which are in the same area or attached to the same end offices, it will be simple as described before. But if we want to connect, for example, between A and D, B and D or C and D, these two telephones, they are connected to the different end offices. So we need a chain of circuit establishment. So let's check, for example, in this figure. First of all, a connection will be established between line A and B by simply setting up the connection through the end office. the connection between C and D. It will be established by simply setting up a connection through the end office. So with the help of end office it can be established. But if we have to establish a connection between C and D, because C is attached to a different end office and D is attached to a different end office, so the connection between C and D is more complex. Now what will happen is, in C's end office, a connection is established between C and one channel on a TDM trunk to the intermediate switch or the intermediate exchange. In the intermediate exchange or intermediate switch, that channel is connected to a channel on the TDM trunk to the D's end office, and in the end office the channel is connected to the line D. So first of all, it needs to connect with the help of wire trunk to the intermediate exchange, and from the intermediate exchange there is a trunk which connects to the end office of the D's telephone line. So this is how the circuit establishment is done. What is this technology? Let's finally wind it up. Circuit switching technology has been driven by those applications that handle voice traffic. It was originally designed for the voice traffic. One of the key requirements for voice traffic is that there is virtually no transmission delay and no variation delay. So that is one of the requirements. A constant signal transmission rate must be maintained, because transmission and reception, they have to occur at the same signal rate. If the signal rate varies, you may have like delays, or you may some of the words may be skipped when we are talking. These requirements are necessary to allow normal human conversation. Also the quality of the received signals must be sufficiently high to provide at a minimum intelligibility. Also, circuit switching has achieved widespread dominant position, and it is very well suited for the analog transmission of the voice signals. But in today's digital world, its inefficiencies are apparent. It's inefficient for the digital transmission, but it's very efficient for the analog transmission. But despite of its inefficiencies, circuit switching still is an attractive choice for both local area and wide area networks. Why? One of the greatest strengths is its transparency. It is transparent. What does it mean, transparent? Transparent means once the circuit is established, it appears as a direct connection between the two parties, and no special networking logical is required or it is attached to the station. So this is one of the most important strength of the strength of the circuit switching technology, that it is transparent, although it has many inefficiencies also. So I will complete my lecture over here. This was all about circuit switching, and the packet switching we will talk in the next lecture. So thank you so much.